Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. The Knicks play the Toronto Raptors tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden at 7:30 p.m. We're going to talk about it. This could be an interesting game. It really could be. You know what? We challenged the Los Angeles Lakers. Clearly, we did not beat the Los Angeles Lakers, and I didn't expect us to, but we challenged them. Now we're going to play the Toronto Raptors. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be able to challenge them too. Let's take a look at some of this stuff coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at it. Let's get rocking.
That's the jig.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I said it. Maybe we'll get a chance to challenge the Toronto Raptors. Maybe we'll play good. I don't know. It's going to be... Listen, the Toronto Raptors are really good. And the last 5 games offensively, man, they've been a monster to deal with. But let's go ahead and get into this. The interim head coach for the New York Knicks is Coach Mike Miller. You all know that. But some of you guys are already calling for his head. Well, not really calling for his head, but, you know, people are starting to talk about Mike Miller a little bit. Whatever. He's the coach. He's going to get that. The projected starters for the Knicks, Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, Marcus Morris, Julius Randle, and Taj Gibson. So, I guess we're at full strength. Well, we're not at full strength because R.J. Barrett's not in the game. All right, but this is a different lineup that we had. We had a different lineup than when we played them before. Right? R.J. Barrett still out with an ankle sprain. All right, now, I guess he did get, should have gotten tested today. But I don't know. I haven't heard of any updates on his injury. All right. For the Toronto Raptors, the head coach is Nick Nurse. The projected starters for the Raptors are at point guard, Fred VanVleet. At shooting guard, Kyle Lowry. At small forward, OG Anunoby. Power forward, Pascal Siakam. And at center, Marc Gasol. Very good team, to say the least, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Injuries. The injury report for the Toronto Raptors. You got Patrick McCall. He's out with a nose. Whatever happened to his nose, I'm not exactly sure. All right. O'Shea Brissett got a knee. He's a game time decision. And then Dewan Hernandez, he's out with an ankle injury. All right. So let me get this turned down. There we go. All right. So that's right there. That's what we're looking at between the Knicks and the Toronto Raptors as far as the projected lineups for tomorrow. Now, obviously, these things could change. And if they change, well, then we'll see what happens game time. Let's take a look at some of the numbers behind these two basketball teams. Let's take a look at the team comparison. Again, this game is tomorrow night at 7:30 at Madison Square Garden. You can see it on local TV, which is MSG, or your local radio station, ESPN 98.5. The team comparison, the Knicks are 12-33. They lost their last game versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Although they lost to the Lakers, they competed. Should I say the least? They competed. We can complain about whatever we want, but they at least competed, okay? The Knicks, for this season, are averaging 104 points per game, and it gets worse than that, ladies and gentlemen. It gets worse than that. They're averaging 104 points per game. They're giving up 112 points per game. They're shooting 43.3% from the field, 33.8% from three, and they average 46.1 rebounds a game. They also average 21.1 assists and 14 turnovers per game. The Knicks' offensive rating is 104.3. That's 28th in the league, and their defensive rating is 112.2. That's 24th in the league. The Toronto Raptors, a team that a lot of people thought that maybe they wouldn't even make the playoffs. I was not one of them. I thought that they would still make the playoffs and that they would be a very strong team. And they are. They're 30-14 on the season. They're on a 5-game winning streak right now. All right, for the season, the Toronto Raptors, they average 111.9 points per game. They give up 105.9 points per game. They shoot 45.3% from the field. They're shooting 37.4% from three. They average 46 rebounds a game. 25.5 assists, and 14.8 turnovers per game. Their offensive rating is 110.1, and their defensive rating is 104.1. That's second in the league, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so we're playing a very, very good defensive team. Very good. But now let's take a look at these guys over the last 5 games. Both teams over the last 5 games. Let's take a look at it. Over the last 5 games, the Knicks are 1-4, and the Toronto Raptors are 5-0. All right, the Knicks, they're averaging 97 points per game. So when I said it gets worse, it gets worse. They're averaging 97 points per game over the last 5 games. Their opponents, though, are only averaging 105 points per game over the last 5 games. We're going to take a look at the Knicks' defense over the last 5 games. All right, they're shooting 40.8% from the field. They're shooting 31% from 3. They're grabbing 46.6 rebounds per game. They're averaging 21.6 assists per game and 14 turnovers per game. All right, the offensive rating over the last 5 games is 97.8. That's 30th in the league. And their defensive rating is 106.1. That's 7th in the league, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a look at what the Knicks are doing over the last 5 games defensively. Okay, over the last 5 games, the Knicks on defense, their defensive rating, as I just mentioned, is 106.7. It's their defensive rating. It's 7th in the league. Their opponents' points, opponents are averaging 105 points per game. That's the 3rd lowest in the league. All right, opponents are shooting 44.2% from the field. That's the 3rd lowest in the league. And opponents are averaging 23.4 assists per game. That's the 10th lowest in the league. The Knicks are playing very, very good defense over the last 5 games. The 7th best defense in the league over the last 5 games. We'll see if it can continue. It's not easy, obviously, but we'll see if it can continue. And this is why it's not going to be easy tomorrow night. Because tomorrow night, they're playing the Toronto Raptors. And the Toronto Raptors, over the last 5 games, have been playing very, very well offensively. As a matter of fact, they're 5-0. They're averaging 124.2 points per game. 124.2 points per game over the last 5 games. Opponents are averaging 111.2, so they're winning by an average of 13 points per game over the last 5 games. They're shooting 51.5% from the field. They're shooting 42.2% from 3. They're averaging 43.4 rebounds per game, and that's probably because their offensive rebounding is down, right? Because they usually average about 46, 47 rebounds a game. Their offensive rebounding is probably down over this time period because they're shooting so well. They're averaging 29 assists per game. 29 assists per game, ladies and gentlemen, over the last 5 games. That's a lot of assists. And they're averaging 15.6 turnovers. That's a very good assist-to-turnover ratio. Their offensive rating over the last 5 games, is 118.3. That's 3rd in the league. And their defensive rating is 105.5. That's 4th in the league. Needless to say, we're playing a very, very good team, a very, very stout team, and a team that is playing very, very well. All right, they're clicking and they're humming on all cylinders right now. So yes, we should be concerned. We should be worried about this team. We'll see if we can come in and play defense the way that, we have been playing defense lately and try to shut these guys down, but it's not going to be easy because these guys can score the basketball and they're a very balanced scoring team. Okay, very balanced scoring team. All right, so yes, I am concerned about playing against these guys. Let's take a look at some of the matchups for tomorrow. All right, one of the main matchups is going to be Pascal Siakam and Julius Randle. All right, Pascal Siakam, he's 6'9", 230 pounds. He's forward. He's averaging 23.5 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists per game, and 1 steal per game. He's shooting 45.4% from the field and 36.7% from three. Needless to say, Pascal Siakam is having a heck of a season, ladies and gentlemen. He's having a heck of a season, the best season of his career, the best season of his young career. Right? He may be most improved player again. Wouldn't put it past him. Wouldn't put it past him at all. He'll be facing off against Julius Randle, and Julius Randle is going to have a time playing defense on Pascal Siakam. Now, the last time that the Knicks and the Raptors matched up, Julius Randle, I do not believe he played. It was November the 27th. I don't believe he played. I'll go back and check it and make sure, but I'm pretty positive. Julius Randle, 6'8", 250. He's averaging 18.8 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists per game, and just under 1 steal per game. All right, Julius Randle shooting 44.8% from the field and 28.9% from three. Look, Julius Randle is going to be he's going to need to be on his game defensively. Now, you know, and this is going to be his second game in a row where he's playing, you know, against a top-notch player, ladies and gentlemen. All right, he was faced off against Anthony Davis the previous game with the Los Angeles Lakers, and now he's going up against Pascal Siakam. You know, so he's got his work cut out for him. Right, he played decent defense against Anthony Davis. You know, his problem wasn't really you know, obviously, you know, he's going to have some lapses here and there. It's Julius Randle. Right, his problem was on the offensive side of the ball, come down the stretch of that game. All right, so he's going to have his work cut out for him. Whereas, you know, and guys are going to have to help out a little bit, maybe not double team too much, especially against this team because they're knocking down threes at a very high clip over the last 5 games. The last time we played them, they knocked down crazy threes on us. I think they shot like 50% or something like that from the field the last time that we played them. I'm about to check it out just to make sure that I have that information. All right, the next matchup, and this really does bother me. It really does concern me with this next matchup. It's the backcourt. I'm very concerned about this backcourt, ladies and gentlemen, this backcourt matchup. All right. Right now, you know, the backcourt of Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet, and tomorrow is going to be Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock. I'm concerned about this backcourt. Even though we have a size advantage, I'm concerned. You can see the averages here. Combined. Now, these are combined averages. Combined averages, the Raptors, they average 38.5 points per game, 8.4 rebounds, 14.3 assists, 3.2 steals per game. All right, now, Kyle Lowry, out of that, you know, Kyle Lowry is averaging 20 points per game on his own. Fred VanVleet's averaging 18.5. Kyle Lowry averages 4.5 rebounds per game. All right, Fred VanVleet is like 3.9 or something like that. Or 3 point, whatever he is. It's just about 4 rebounds a game, basically. All right, Kyle Lowry is averaging 7.5 assists per game. Fred VanVleet is like 6.8 assists per game. All right, they're shooting a combined 40.7% from the field and 37.5% from three. Fred VanVleet on his own is shooting 40% from three. Kyle Lowry is somewhere around 36% from three. All right, so I'm concerned about this. I'm concerned about this backcourt matchup. Even though we got the size advantage, I'm concerned about it. You can see our backcourt, we average 18.5 points per game. All right, Reggie Bullock is averaging 10. Elfrid Payton is averaging 8.5 points per game. All right, they average about 6 assists per game. Most of that is Elfrid Payton averaging those 6 assists per game. All right, I mean, you already know. I'm sorry, 6 rebounds per game. We average 7.3 assists per game. Most of that is Elfrid Payton. He's averaging 6 assists, and Reggie Bullock is averaging 1.3 assists per game. All right, they average 3.9 steals per game combined. They're shooting not well. They shoot 41.4% from the field. combined, and they shoot 26.9% from three. Neither player is actually shooting that well from three. All right. Reggie Bullock is shooting 31.1% from three. Elfrid Payton is like 28% from three or something like that. Or even lower, whatever it is. But they're not shooting well from the three-point line. So I'm concerned, very concerned about this backcourt matchup between Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet going up against Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock. Now, here's where, there's a little bit of a difference from the last time that we played them, though. Okay, from the last time that we played them, we didn't have Elfrid Payton. We didn't have Reggie Bullock. Okay, so we had a different backcourt out there. Right now, so things are going to change. Still not a high-scoring backcourt. I guess, we had R.J. Barrett and I think maybe Frank Ntilikina out there. So our scoring average was probably about the same. Defensively, I think this backcourt is maybe better defensively going up against these two players. Right? And then, of course, just looking at the entire game, Julius Randle was out there. So it's a different game. It doesn't mean that we're winning the game. I'm just saying it's a different game than the last time that we seen these guys. All right, the last time that we seen these guys, we got walloped. Okay, we played them on November the 27th, and we got beat by almost 30. I believe we got beat by 28 points that night. All right, now we were in the midst of playing, a few games that were actually tight, though. Okay, so it's not, we hadn't hit that bad stretch yet. We were almost there. We were just about getting to that bad stretch, but we hadn't hit that bad stretch yet. And when I say bad stretch, I mean that stretch where we were getting blown out every night because we were still losing games. We just weren't getting blown out. We lost 126-98 the last time that we played the Toronto Raptors. All right, if you want to look at the matchups of the game, the last time we played them, the Knicks shot 37.5% from the field. The Toronto Raptors shot 48.9% from the field. I'm going to get this over here so you can check it out and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, the biggest lead, the Knicks actually had an 11-point lead, ladies and gentlemen. They had an 11-point lead. 11-point lead. Toronto Raptors led by 34. Again, the Knicks, 37.5% from the field, 29.3% from three. They shot 83.3% from the free throw line that game. The Raptors, 48.9% from the field, 51.2% from three. All right, the Knicks were out-rebounded 52-45. The Knicks had 19 assists, 26 assists for the Raptors. The Knicks also had a lot of turnovers that game. They had 18 turnovers compared to 12 for the Toronto Raptors. And I want you to look at the scoring of the Raptors. This is an issue. This is something, we got to watch for. All right? When you look at the scoring of this game, and actually Julius Randle did play. So I don't know what happened. I was looking at another score, and I didn't see Julius Randle. So you know what? Julius Randle did play. All right? Julius Randle actually had 19 points. Shot 50% from the field. All right, so maybe I was looking at the wrong score the previous time. But anyway, so now we know that Julius Randle did play. But when you look at the scoring for the Toronto Raptors, it was balanced, ladies and gentlemen. Balanced all over the place. Pascal Siakam, he had 31. But then everybody else, Fred VanVleet, 15. Terrence Davis, 15. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 12. Chris Boucher, 12. Malcolm Miller, 13. OG Anunoby, he had 13. So that balanced scoring all over the place for the Toronto Raptors. And of course, that is something that's an issue. When a team has balanced scoring like that, it's an issue. It's tough to deal with a team like that defensively. Very tough to deal with a team like that defensively. So let's get into our keys to the game, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into our keys to the game and talk about how do we deal with a team like this that is so such an offensively oiled machine? Number one, we got to play disciplined defense. We got to be disciplined. If we're not disciplined, then we're really going to get smacked. When I say disciplined, let's not go for home run, trying to get that steal so many times. Not just the Knicks, but players. They try to get a steal that's not there, and then the other team is going the other way. Let's be disciplined. Let's stay home, because these guys are going to take advantage of it. They got a smart backcourt in Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. Smart players, intelligent players, high IQ players. We make mistakes, they're going to capitalize. Okay, so we got to stay home on that. We got to be disciplined. We got to talk. We got to move our feet. Play with our feet, not with our hands. A lot of communication. Fight over screens because they can knock down the three. All right, we got to do these things. We got to defend the three ball. Last time we let them guys shoot 51.1% from the three. All right, we can't let that happen this time. If we let that happen this time, we're going to be in big trouble. Right? Look, we've been playing better defensively over the last 5 games, but still teams have been knocking down the three. We were ranked somewhere in the 20s in three-point field goal percentage. Opponents knocking down threes against us. Somewhere like 22nd or something like that. All right, so we're still having a problem defending that three ball. Got to figure out a way to defend Kyle and Fred. We got to defend those guys. You know what I'm saying? Because, look, they're not going to come out and just try to – they're not the kind of guards. They're not the kind of guards like a Damian Lillard or someone like that. They're not just going to attack you and kill you with athleticism and speed and all that kind of stuff. They're smart and they're crafty. Right? They'll knock down threes. Now, they're both shooting around 40% from the field. Kyle Lowry gets to the line, he shoots about 6 free throws a game. Makes about 5 of them. But we got to defend those guys. Use our size against them too as well. That doesn't mean posting up. I don't see Reggie Bullock being a post-up guy. Elfrid Payton's not a post-up guy. Right? Now, Elfrid Payton may not have the same kind of size advantage. He's a little bit taller, but he's not as thick as Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet. But he is 6'4", and those guys are like 6 foot and 6'1". So go at him. Go at him, penetrate to the basket. Make it tough on him. Try to get to the cup. Elfrid Payton. But you got to make your layups, though. Make your layups. Get to the cup and make your layups. Dip it off when it's not there. A lot of times he gets in and he misses little, that little flip-up floater thing he does. If we can use our bigger size, hopefully it'll be to our advantage. We should have 2 guys that, even though we're taller and a little bit bigger, we should be able to handle them, as far as penetrating to the basket, running transition with them. Then you got Frank Ntilikina coming off the bench. Hopefully, he should be able to run in transition with those guys, even though he's 6'6", 6'7". I think he's actually listed at 6'4" now since they had the new measurements, but, use our size if we can. You can use Frank Ntilikina in the post. He can do some posting up. People might be looking and laughing and saying whatever, right? But you got a 6'2", 6-foot guards. Frank Ntilikina, 6'6", 6'7", whatever. Maybe see if you can get a couple of post-up plays from Frank Ntilikina tomorrow. Spacing, ladies and gentlemen. We've been having problems with our spacing. Well, not have been recently. We've been having problems all season long. But it's really come to light over these last few games with the way that the Knicks fumbled the ball and turned the ball over in crunch time because of spacing. Spacing is so key to everything that you're going to do. You seen last night when I broke down that video a little bit on, we were looking at Julius Randle's the shot where he spun and LeBron James took it from him. Right? And the spacing was just bad. Elfrid Payton inbounds the ball and then stands on the box under the rim. Right? You inbound the ball. Now, he inbounded the ball to the middle of the floor. So there is no side that you would prefer to go to. Right? Usually, when the inbounder passes in the ball, they go the opposite direction. All right? So you take your man away, you get away from the play. Well, this time he passes the ball to the center of the floor. So now you got to decide, where do you go? All right, get your man out the way. That's where you go. He could have went to the corner. He could have went to the far corner, but he did not. He stood by the box, which kept another defender in the paint. Mitch Robinson, he stayed in the paint as well, which kept LeBron James in the paint because LeBron James was guarding Mitch Robinson. Even if Mitch Robinson went to the opposite short corner, whichever corner Elfrid Payton went to, Mitch Robinson could have went to the opposite short corner, opened up the floor a little bit. And then, of course, Julius Randle has to see that the spacing's not there and decide, I'm not going to take this shot. Not good spacing on the floor, right? When you have the ball in your hands, you are the drumbeat of the game. You're the drumbeat. You make the decision. You keep the timing of what's happening out there. So bad spacing and bad decision-making all the way around. We've got to find a way to get good spacing. And it's not just shooting that creates good spacing. It's getting out the way and letting people have space. Disciplined ball movement and man movement. Got to have it against this team. You see how good they are defensively, right? If we don't have good ball movement and man movement, then we'll be stuck trying to play one-on-one, and we'll get blown out off top. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it, ladies and gentlemen. That is my that's my little rundown of how I think the game, how I think the Knicks should approach the game tomorrow. I want to hear from you, though. I got a couple guys in the chat, I think. Or maybe it's just Guillermo. But we're going to get to these guys and see what's going on with them, all right? See what these guys think about tomorrow night's game. And then we got some other things to talk about. Just some things to chat about. So, Guillermo. My man, Guillermo. What's going on, man?
A lot of depressing stuff with the Knicks, man. A lot of depressing stuff. So, first and foremost, I don't think we're beating these Raptors.
Maybe it's just Guillermo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hold on. Let me mute Nick real quick. So the Raptors, defensively, they have the top defensive rating in the league. Offensively, they're number one in assists, I believe, now currently. No, sorry. I think top 10 or top 5 in the assists.
I mean, they're very good. Over the last 5 games, they're averaging 29 assists per game. So
secondary assists, they're number 1, which means that ball is getting around. Like, it's a very unselfish game. Obviously, no more Kawhi, but they got guys like you mentioned. I mean, was it Nick or Norman Powell went off like maybe a game or 2 ago? I mean, they got role players who can step in and contribute on a dime. Guys like OG Anunoby, that people forgot about because he was hurt last year. He's averaging only 10 points, but shooting like 46% from the field, 36% from 3. And then you have Pascal Siakam, who's, everybody's quiet, all-star or whatever. I don't know if he got selected. He should have. If he didn't, he should. But I mean, look, they are stacked. Last game, you had role players like that tall dude with the weird name. It sounds like French or some crap like that. I can't remember his name. He killed us. These guys were hitting threes on us. The ball was passing around early on. Pau Gasol operating like a bootleg Jokic. I mean, all in all, man, I don't see the Knicks winning this game. We can't defend the perimeter. When the pass hits 1 or 2 guys within a split second, we have no idea where our man is, especially when we play zone. We are, oh my gosh, when guys thread inside the zone, again, I've seen too many times the guy on the weak side who should be sticking onto his man comes out and helps. Look at Mitchell Robinson and the guy, the bottom 3 guy, and even the top guy on that side can't properly defend a penetrator coming into the zone. That's on them. You should not be helping. That's how these guys kill us with these dribble drive into the paint and then pass out to the 3. By the time they look up, it's 4 guys in the paint and then 1 guy in the perimeter with the open shot. You know what I mean? So, and I know you spoke about Mike Miller, right? And so the thing with me is that I can't really judge Mike Miller on too many things, right? This is not his team per se, right? He didn't have an off season. You know what I mean? And there's only a few things he can teach. The only thing I'll get on him about is discipline, right? So when certain guys aren't doing certain things, right, they got to come out the game. And, it scares me. When I heard this quote today with the front office, we talked about Mike Miller kind of being hamstrung, right, where, we theorize it, right, where maybe he's forced to play certain guys and blah, blah, blah. And when these idiots, the front office that is, says this Knicks team is playoffs or bust at the beginning of the season, mind you, the year before, you really didn't build any coach. You didn't build a game plan. You didn't build a mindset. You didn't build a style of play. You didn't really even build a style of drafting or a unified mindset between the front office and the coach and everything, right? None of your players really last year really developed besides Mitch here, and you could probably argue Trey a little bit, right? So and you bring in I don't know how many free agents. I'm pretty sure we have more free agents on this team than actual homegrown talent that we brought in this season. How the hell can you make a mandate not mandate, but a soft mandate saying playoffs are bust with that. These guys have no idea what they're doing. So that's why when I come to Mike Miller, right, and it comes full circle back to Mike Miller, I can't really judge him because I think that he's being hamstrung by these idiots up top. But maybe he does want to play trim. Maybe he does want to play the young guys, but obviously we got to trade some of these assets, or we'd probably be forced to play these guys to try to make a run to try to get to this imaginary playoffs. Probably they're probably still thinking that. So, it's tough right now. I think again, the Knicks probably will only win if Randall and Morris have some ridiculous games, and the Raptors just can't execute. But I just find it hard to believe with a team where everyone is they have a system where the ball's moving around and everyone can be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, with that whole thing, I mean, my bigger thing is this. I don't think any of us, maybe some of us thought, maybe we could be close to that playoff spot. I know I thought we would be somewhere around, the low 30s in wins. I did. I didn't think we were going to make the playoffs, but I thought we would be somewhere around the low 30s in wins, right? My problem is them thinking that this team was going to make the playoffs and having that expectation. I mean, if this was a team that had been together for a couple of years, right, and maybe they were on a slow incline, and then you say, you know what, and then they go into the locker room and say, you know what, our expectations is that we make the playoffs this year. I can understand that. Like you said, we're bringing in a whole bunch of players that you don't even know how they're going to fit together. You don't make that expectations. The same thing that they said to us, we're not putting a number on it. We're not putting this. We're not putting that. It should have been the same thing that they said to them. Let the players decide, you know what? We're going to try to make the playoffs. That's what we're going to do. Let the players decide that. Now.
But can I ask a question real quick? You being a coach, right? How in the world, if you look at this team, even at the beginning of the season, right, you say low 30s, you're optimistic that maybe some players, the majority of guys you bring in will pan out. If you were these guys, right, looking back from last year, because teams usually don't just make playoffs out of nowhere. It's very difficult for an NBA team to go from sub 20 wins and then go to 40 wins at least without bringing in a superstar player. The last guy saw that, you could bring, guys like Kawhi, obviously, but the Raptors were still going to players and stuff, right? The last guy I could think of, or one of the guys I think of that famously was able to do that was a guy like Chris Webber. Where every team he went to the playoffs. Like, he would come there, these guys be in the doldrums, he comes there, playoff team, right? And obviously games is different, and there are probably other players you can use.
But that's what I'm saying.
Why would you, as the front office, where the hell do you get from the previous season where it's like, all right, we did this, we have this type of player, we're here, we have this, now we feel good about the players. This is what I'm talking about. This is the stupidity.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, right? But then also, there's another part to this that I feel, though. Because I feel like and obviously, this report, it comes from Ian Begley, and I trust Ian Begley a lot. I feel like Ian Begley is one of those guys that he puts out like real information. Like, he puts out information that he trusts is going to be true, right? Mm-hmm. Still, it's coming from sources, but I really do trust Ian Begley. So if your players, I feel like if your players, if you have players that get rattled because the coach, they say, we want you to make the playoffs, then I feel like that's a problem too. You know what I'm saying? I do. That's my opinion, because when I go to my team and I say, yo, we want to win this tournament, right? I want my players to be like, yeah, let's go get this, not get rattled.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like if you have players that get rattled, because that's what the report said, right? They start to get all this pressure and this and that. If you got players that can't handle that pressure, then they don't need to be here.
That's true, sir. But again, difference, right? So in the younger leagues, right, you can will, right, these younger kids sometimes to play way above their means or their talent, whatever, and get to the, state tournament, city tournament, whatever, right? In the NBA, and that's not to say there's not growth for players. Obviously, if rookies come in, guys could change, get better, blah, blah. But it's up to the front office, right? If I bring in, maybe I say that to, if I have maybe one or two guys who are, they could be boom or bust in terms of prospects coming in. Whereas like, yo, rile them up, right? They could either, fall off by the wayside and say, yo, I'm actually good, or we could actually be good, right? There's a difference when you have that versus you're telling a bunch of vets who you. Let's be honest, you have the book on most of them. Like Julius Randle's not going to average 29, right? You know that Ellington's not going to average 20 points a game. You know where they stand for the most part. So it's up to you, the front office, to take their statistics, take their gameplay, and take a style in the system and say, hey, this guy fits here, this guy fits here. And maybe I put that as a cherry on the top. Yo, guys, we're trending towards 30 wins right now. So, you don't say guys are trending.
Well,
maybe
I think that's more.
You will them, but you don't will them for a whole season. When, let's be honest, when you can put these guys on paper, they are not even a 35, 36 win team.
Well, I think that's more the coach. I think that's more the coach that has to take and fit the pieces together. You know what I'm saying? When you got when the front office puts your players out there, now the coach has to look and say, okay, this guy can do this guy can do that. How am I going to put the system together?
Sim, let me kill you right now with one of your own favorite foods. Since you love baked ziti, right? If I only gave you tomatoes and cheese.
That's not my point. That's not my point. That's not my point. That's not my point. You said the front office has to, take the guys and then come up with a system. Not the front office don't have to come up with the system. The coach has to come up with the system. The coach comes up with the system, not the front office. The front office comes up with your system of play.
Be in synergy with each other, because when I draft,
I get that. I know. I understand that. I understand that. But your coach has to come up with the system that's going to be on the floor. Your coach, we tried that with Phil Jackson, didn't we? Well, Phil Jackson said, "This is the system I want played." Your coach, because check this out.
Everybody has to be in agreement, right?
I know, hold up. Right? But wait a minute. But listen. Let's say you all sat down. I agree with you. Everyone is in agreement that this is our philosophy of play. Philosophy and systems are two different things to me. This is our philosophy of play. This is our vision of what we want to put on the floor. So we're going to get these players. Now, when the coach gets these players, the coach looks at what the players can do, or when the front office gets these players, maybe not specific players, but says we're going to try to get these style of players. Then they get these style of players that fits their philosophy. Who knows if they had a philosophy? I'm just speaking hypothetically, if a team has a philosophy, they say, okay, now we're going to get these players. Now the coach has to figure out how to put those players together. So everyone together has a philosophy, but I feel like the coach has to put the system together, because then when you get out there and you start playing and you notice, well, this guy doesn't really do this as well as I thought, or this guy has a tendency to do this. Now the coach has to make those adjustments within that system. That's the way I feel it should work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
not the front office.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not trying to disagree. I'm sure when I say system, right, and how it has to fit, right, what I mean is that these guys come together, right? Obviously, famous coaches, right? D'Antoni has a 7 seconds or less or whatever. Pat Riley has a style of play or system. Well, he's actually kind of agnostic. He changes, but you know what I mean? Like, in terms of, what I meant to say is that they all have to be in agreement, right? So that's what I mean. I'm not saying that the front office creates the system, but they have to be in agreement. And the thing about it is that this front office, it's like, where is the congruence? Like, why are you why are you signing all these power forwards and it doesn't fit Fizdale's system? Now it doesn't fit. It doesn't really fit anybody's system. No one knows really how to get these guys to really play together. So, I mean, I'm just trying to point out the front office, man. What they said today, man, it's blind. They are blind to. When you talk about Steve Mills not going to get another basketball job, I am highly convinced. He's not with the Knicks. He's not going to be with anybody else, because that's the dumbest thing. We talked about culture, system, everything last year. Since last year, me, you, Isaiah used to harp on this. And all these things are coming to fruition now. And for them to say that means they have had an extended view or an extended time period, but they still don't know what the hell they're talking about or doing. Like, come on, bro. Playoffs are bust with this team, and you didn't have one rookie last year. One player besides maybe Mitch, and he was undrafted. A second rounder. You didn't have one player that could say, "Yo, this is a building. Like, this guy's gonna carry this team. He could give us these many wins because of his production, his projected production in the future." Like, come on, man. These guys are dumb. Man. I'm sorry.
It doesn't make me as upset as it makes other people, because I'm like, that's back then. I mean, it's a part of the problem as to where we are now. I guess, it's part of that problem. It's just like, okay, right? And I mean, if they expected this team to make the playoffs, then they just had a crooked view of the way that they were building the team. You know what I'm saying? And just a more reason why, you could say, like Guillermo's saying, they don't know what they're doing. But still, I do expect, though, when you have players, if you get rattled because there's too much pressure on you to make the playoffs, I feel that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? Now, it doesn't mean that you're going to make the playoffs, but if you have players that get like, oh my gosh, we're not doing well, so we're not going to make the playoffs, what's going to happen? I'm rattled now. I think that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? That means you're not strong mentally. You don't have a strong mentally you're just weak. You have any, no mental fortitude. I don't know. What do you think, Nick?
I don't even know where to start. I mean, what are we talking about exactly?
Well, we were talking about the Raptors, and then Guillermo kind of transitioned us into the report that came out today about the Knicks and kind of the story of the season and what happened at the beginning of the season that maybe led to where we are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hate that report. It was silly, to say the least. But I mean, Guillermo's not wrong. I've been saying it too. It's like, just to touch on that, I know that's nothing about the game tomorrow, but like, you have to establish a good base of what you want to draft. Just to touch on the game tomorrow, is there a chance we could win? Yeah, there could be like 5 Raptor injuries, knock on wood, and guys could just fall out left and right, and we win the game. But I don't think that's going to happen, right? So it depends on, okay, is Ntilikina going to come in and make shots? Because one thing about if you look at the minutes distribution between our backcourt versus their backcourt, I think you mentioned that they average like 38 points, right?
Yeah, together. 38.5 points per game together.
One of my arguments that I always thought that at minimum, if our backup point guard could average 10 points, our starting point guard, which the average for every starting point guard is 17 points, like 15 to 17, somewhere in that range, we'll have a chance every night from a scoring standpoint to be competitive with any given team. But both of them normally at their highest point average around 10 points. Ntilikina really averages like 16. And so to have a chance, and then RJ helped make up for some of the scoring and stuff like that from the backcourt. And with RJ gone, I feel like from a backcourt standpoint, we'll just lose. Then you talk about Siakam. He's beaten Randall by 5 points or 4 points. So it's just, you can't, those are the little matchups that just kill us. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. And then you have the reports. And then as a Knicks fan, it just hurts because then you look at the team is just losing by each position almost every night. It's a knife cut in the back. And then Dolan, and then it sucks. We're gonna lose, but at the same time, we'll lose by 10. I mean,
it just keeps digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, right? Let me read this real quick. All right, this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is from the Knicks blog. It's from Ian Begley. He reported it this morning. If you didn't get a chance to read it, it's a pretty good read. I'm not gonna read all of it, right? I'm just gonna go through the main point. All right, so let's skip down here and let's get to the main point. All right. When Steve Mills and Scott Perry, when they spoke to everyone and they were asked about the playoffs, this is what they said. They said, we're not in the prediction business. I'm not here to predict records, Perry said that day. But I expect us to be better and an improved basketball team. Privately, though, expectations for the 2019-2020 Knicks were set during the team's first official meeting. Members of the front office addressed the players in the meeting and conveyed two distinct messages, according to SNY sources familiar with discussions. They said, in no uncertain terms, that they believed the Knicks were a playoff team and anything less than that was a disappointment. Number two, players who are entering free agency in the summer of 2020 were told that they would be judged more heavily, much more heavily, on the team's win-loss record than their individual play. All right. By delivering the playoff edict, management may have been trying to motivate a roster with several new faces and a young, untested score. But if the expectations set in the meeting were earnest, the Knicks have fallen well short of those preseason goals, obviously. All right. Obviously, we know the season was a disappointment. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
All right. We get to, players feeling internal and external pressure. This is where we want to get to. All right. As the losses mounted early in the season, the preseason playoff expectations weighed heavily on some of the Knicks. They were definitely playing tight, one person in touch with those players said at the time. Some of the players eligible for 2020 free agency were already worried about next summer. Those early season losses also led to immediate speculation about Fizdale's job security. The speculation increased, of course, and after Mills and Perry held their impromptu press conference in early November. That's basically the crust of the story, ladies and gentlemen. And then, everything else kind of goes on to stuff that we already know. The new thing there is that, we did not know that privately
they were talking playoffs.
Right? And look, there's going to be a lot of people that say, oh, you see, they lied to us and stuff like that. I don't have a problem with a front office coming out to the fans and everyone and saying, listen, we're going to take it day by day and this and that and this and that. But then to the team saying, here's our expectations. I don't have a problem with that. The problem is, you got to have the right expectations for the right team. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
I mean, like if you're a team that wins a championship, that feels you can win a championship, you don't come out and say, you know what, we're definitely going to win a championship this year. You say, listen, we're going to come out, we're going to fight for it. Our expectations are to be a title contender, blah, 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 because you don't know everything that can happen. You know what I'm saying? But privately, while you're talking to your team, you might say, listen, we're getting to the championship this year. I do it with my teams all the time. You know what I'm saying? Parents ask me, you think you guys can win this tournament? I'm going to say, well, we're going to put our best foot forward. There's some tough teams in here. If we can do this, if we can do that, we give ourselves a chance. But when I talk to my players, I'm like, listen, I expect us to be in the championship this weekend. You know what I'm saying? We know who this team is. We know who that team is. You know what I mean? That's just, that's what you do sometimes, because you don't want the outside, if you're putting pressure on your team, you don't want the outside pressure too. You know what I'm saying? Because then, you get, people, from all over the place, this and that, and the other thing. And, people say, well, they don't have their parents, this and that, that's not AAU. But you know what? There's a lot of similarities in basketball worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. When you put things out to the public, it does put some pressure on the players. You know what I'm saying? Because now they've got to live up to that expectations that the public has, to those expectations that the public has. Same thing with AAU. If you tell the parents, here's the expectation, now the players got to live up to their parents' expectations. You know what I'm saying? It's the same kind of a concept. So I don't have a problem with that. I just have a problem that the front office really expected that they were going to be in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? The better idea would be like, listen, we want to take the next step forward. You know what I'm saying?
I do want to ask you though, like, what would it have taken as presently constructed to you to win, let's say, to meet your goal of mid-30s or, like 30-plus games?
One, to have a real steady system of play when we began. I early in the season, when Coach Fizdale came out and said we might be trying out players at spots and looking at lineups from the beginning of the season, I was like, here we go again. And I know you got these new players, but you got to put it in. Sometimes you got to put it in fast mode and say, okay, this is the lineup that we're going to go with. We're going to rock with this lineup right here. And then, because this is the way that I want to do things. As soon as he said that, I started getting worried. You know what I'm saying? Because, now you're still trying players out at certain positions and all this kind of stuff.
So my only contest with that, like Vonleh last year worked a little bit as point forward, right? A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it was largely successful. Julius Randle had moments of good play at point forward, right? I still say the one lineup that I actually sort of liked from Fizdale was the idea. I'm not saying this permanently, but RJ at point, Trey at the 2, because it would at least give you Trey shot the ball well because Reggie Bullock was still hurt. When you think about it, like Trey was an attack. He attacks. Also, Alfred Payton got hurt too, or something like that. Trey attacks. He could shoot. He was working on his spot up shot. RJ's been getting to the rim, and he's very good playmaking for others. And I felt like at the point, whenever he scores like above 20, it's usually when he plays a certain amount of time at the point guard position. And I still feel like we have voiced our limitations on point guard.
Yeah, but like, so you about like that RJ and Trier, okay, and this is exactly, it's like we didn't see it all preseason. Maybe we seen it a couple times in a couple of games, and then all of a sudden it starts. I had no problem with it, honestly, I really didn't, and I actually did a video about it. I had no problems with RJ and Trier. But if you're going to try it, you got to give it some time, right?
And that's where I did agree with you on, like, he's trying to please the media a little bit too much. Yep. Because again, too, like with this, at the beginning of the season, one thing I said, and my only argument for the Knicks, that the roster wasn't as bad as the media was trying to make it out to be with all the power forwards, is that Orlando made it to the playoffs with an all-power forward team. Also, the difference between the Knicks and the Magic is that Aaron Gordon sometimes could play the 3 as well as the 4, but he's a defensive player first. Same thing with Jonathan Isaac, same thing with Mo Bamba. Like, all those guys are defensive players first, whereas we have all offensive players. And the one weakness of Fizdale, and I can't really say Mike Miller's shown a proficiency, is like on the offensive end. So like when it comes to offense, I felt like Fizdale had the right idea, but his implementation was annoying. Yeah. So you had what was the thing? Because he had the statement where he basically said that we worked on nothing but defense, and it showed the first like 3 games. Like, we were in every game because of our defense, toe to toe, and it looked like he wanted to build a muck it up, switchable, just in your face defense, which I saw the promise of it, but we don't have the defensive back end guys,
right,
that could do that kind of work.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and getting back to your question, what I think would have got us there, having a system to boot, right? You had all summer to look at these guys and figure out how you're going to make them work, and then, I mean, you just mentioned it, point guard play. We really need a leader out there on the floor that can direct traffic and move people around. You see it from Alfred Payton here and there, but not enough. You know what I'm saying? You really need people that can do that and just get everyone together and in a point guard that everybody respects. I think that right there could have, put us into that stratosphere or hemisphere, whatever, of getting those 30 to 35 games. Wasn't to be, man. And now here we are with this season. The one thing I am happy about is that the last 5 games, the Knicks have been playing some really good defense. We'll see if they can continue that play that kind of defense against the Raptors. One thing I do want to get to is, and I'm gonna ask Guillermo and I'm gonna ask Kareem about this too. As a matter of fact, I'm about to let everybody become live so everybody can talk together.
Hey, Guillermo, Kareem.
But
everybody's on now.
Yeah, Malik Monk.
Everybody talking.
The Knicks are, I guess, sources say that people inside the Knicks organization are interested in Malik Monk, or some have interest in Malik Monk. Why?
Can you hear me, son? Am I live?
Yeah, I can hear you. Why? Why Malik Monk?
Well, isn't this the last year of his rookie contract?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No.
I don't know. I don't see
got drafted with
I don't know why. I can't really tell you that.
Did Malik Monk get re-signed?
I mean, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's doing right now. I'm gonna look and see what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at.
He's not doing too good. 23% from three.
He got signed the same year.
I don't know if Tim got me on.
Dennis from Jr. got signed, correct?
You're wrong, Guillermo.
Same year, right?
He got drafted that same year.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, fellas, how many years this dude Trae Young been? This is Trae Young's second year, right?
Trae Young's second year, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, he's a starting all-star?
Yeah, he is.
You got Siakam. So the starting Eastern All-Stars is Walker, Trae Young, Giannis, Embiid, and Siakam.
Yeah.
This dude Malik Young is doing terrible, man. Oh my god.
Yeah,
not terrible.
So that's the thing.
Why
Malik?
Good, man.
Why Malik Monk?
Just one thing about Malik Monk. His contract is it ends at the same time as Frank but he has a cap hole on 2020.
Cap hole, right? Yeah.
And then so he'll be a restricted free agent in 2021. The problem with Malik Monk, and so kind of like going back to everything we've just said. So Malik Monk is shooting 20-something% from 3, right?
23%.
We don't need that.
He doesn't have very high basketball IQ.
Nope.
IQ. Mm-hmm.
So DSJ has low basketball IQ, can't shoot, and hasn't developed under the Knicks. Frank Ntilikina has high basketball IQ, can't shoot, hasn't developed on New York Knicks. Let's see, who else? We could just keep on going down the line. Forget it. Like, who the hell, why do you want someone who cannot shoot? You just said it, Elia. Can't shoot, can't defend, low basketball IQ, and then the team that has him wants to give him up.
Because it's playoffs a bust, man. You know that. We can't shoot. So we're going to get some more people that can't shoot, and then we're going to make the playoffs, baby.
But don't we already have Malik Monk and Alonzo Trier?
Yeah, Alonzo Trier is a better version of Malik Monk.
Come on.
Alonzo Trier did something to somebody in the front office.
Yeah,
I'm thoroughly convinced. No, I'm not trying to be vulgar. He slept with somebody's wife.
Come on, man. Don't put that stuff out there like that, man. He ain't do nothing like that. He ain't do nothing like that.
It has to be. Sim, this makes no sense. All right, even if you don't want Alonzo Trier as your starter, whatever, right? The kid came in. I was harsh on Alonzo Trier beginning of the season, and I was the one to point out, yo, bro, even when he wasn't scoring, he was getting rid of the ball quicker. He wasn't a black hole on offense, and the guy was trying. And we do not give this kid a chance. He's come in a few games the second quarter, and you don't see him for the rest of the game. This is what I'm talking about with this front office. And we're going to let him go to another team. Now, people talk about Frank going to another team and being good or whatever, right? But you can argue that Trier can go to a contender right now
Yeah, he could
play off the bench and give you quality minutes, quality points as instant microwave offense, and we'll be looking back like, yo, that was our Lou Williams, blah blah. And the front office,
Guillermo, you know that's
have
the
no
Nick
reason
way, though,
for it,
baby.
man.
That's the Nick way, though.
I hate this front office. Is
no, but that's the
terrible,
front office, though. It's like,
Bro, we're gonna get rid of him and go get Malik or somebody that can't shoot and make the playoffs.
Because Mark made a good point yesterday, right? And I understand they played two different positions, right?
Yeah.
How can you justify playing Knox, but you don't play Trier? And I know they're two different positions, right? But you can set it where maybe you put more defense in your three position and play Trier. You put more defense in your two position, play Knox, whatever, to compensate for them, right? It's interchangeable in that sense, right? How the hell you don't play Trier? Kid was shooting 45% from the field goal last year.
Best field goal percentage any of our guards last year.
And I saw, and last game I saw him play, when I pointed out, when he caught his guard on the hip, and then Kane drove and then wrapped it around to Mitch, and Mitch I think had the ball, tipped or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, this kid is. That's when the point guard moves in. I talked about this for ages. I said I want Frank to do it more. DJ needs to learn how to do it. Yeah. Peyton does it at times. That's one of the things that I've been crying for our point guards to do, and he did it. So for us to sit and say that he's not making, I don't say crazy strides, but he's at least trying. Like, what the hell? Why is he not playing, bro? I mentioned Steve Mills. Steve Mills have some stupid excuse. Maybe he didn't want to go for. Maybe he's trying to be like down and say some hip hop lyrics to Trier, and Trier told him to f off or some crap like that. Like he tried to do that. Mills is stupid, man. Mills is. I mean, he has those Cosby sweaters and that stupid gray hair.
Listen, I've been here since integration. Don't talk about me.
Yeah, he's just dumb, man.
I do want to ask this question though.
Yeah, go ahead.
We making the playoffs, some of us.
Let's say, because this is the other thing that I hate about the team philosophy that we have, is that we always go, it's the same thing every year. We play vets at the beginning of the year or for the first 3 quarters. Then we, at the trade deadline, now it's time to play the rookies. And then, or the young guys. And we play the young guys and we bring up somebody from the G League. And then some disgruntled vet starts pitching a fit. It's the same thing every single year. It's insanity. And I'm asking, okay, so going forward, because I do believe they're gonna sit down the vets after
the All-Star game, right?
Or until we're officially out of the playoff race. So who is the vet that's gonna just permanently sit down? Because it doesn't make sense to sit Reggie Bullock. Who will we sit?
Just to piggyback on what you just said, Nick, I was gonna tell Sim that, in regards to what you said, we can't keep signing players. Like, we can't develop our young players while having players that are playing for their next contract. We keep in that same circle, that same cycle.
I didn't mind that. It's just that you got to go after the right guys. Like, okay, if we had gone after, do something like somebody who's along the lines of D'Angelo Russell with like
some shooters
contract who could actually play. And I just can't think of anyone right. Okay, Malik Beasley. Let's say we trade for Malik Beasley right now.
Yep.
Give up picks or something like that, down the line, and we give up, say, DSJ, which makes no sense for them, but it helps us. So we give up something for Malik Beasley, and we just re-sign him next year, right? It helps. But the problem is that the philosophy that we've been going after, and this is the problem I have with Scott Perry. Remember, he said that he wanted to get more athletic that last year with what's his name?
KP?
Not last year with KP. It was with
yeah.
So he looked at the team and said, we want to get more athletic. Well, we've gotten more athletic. DSJ is more athletic, but he's dumb as scum. We had all these dudes that are just athletic, and I still can't understand why is Bobby Portis getting minutes, because I could justify Kevin Knox at times because at least I can see something that I'm trying to build in him. I cannot justify.
Bobby Portis, man, he can't even make layups.
Portis has the worst
it kills me.
In NBA
it kills me. It kills me,
when
man.
you
You can't
when you
even make
don't
layups.
have when you don't have a vision and you don't have a culture, when you don't have a foundation to like Legos, when you don't have places where you can fit the pieces and say, "Oh, I have a building." This is what you get. You get a guy saying, "We need to get more athletic." Okay, in what sense? More athletic in rebounding, more athletic from the guard position, more athletic from shooting guards who are going to move around picks and stuff. What do you mean athletic? This is Steve Mills for you. This is Steve Mills for you. This is a guy who does not know basketball. And they say things like, we need to get more athletic because we have too many smart guys who are a little bit too slow. No. When you get the team and you have the clay, come up with the plan. What is our game style? Are we a half-court team? Are we going to plot it down? Are we going to operate from the post? Are we going to run and gun? Then that's when you say, all right, I need athleticism at the 2 guard, but I need a rim protector. I need a 5 who can rim protect, right? That stuff like that. We don't have these plans because Steve Mills is stupid. And Scott Perry, let's be honest, he's ruined his career by just being the brainchild of saying, all right, Mills probably says, yo, get me this. And he gets him that stuff. Come on, bro. Like, oh, these guys are done. And now we're trying to trade guys away like DJ, who we know has no trade value. We know this guy has no trade value. Well, now we have to probably give up premium picks, like you said, to get a Malik Beasley, who might be a building some, because right now the logjam in the Denver Nuggets, they just don't have space to really play him like that. He's not a head case. I've never heard any bad thing about him. But it's like now you have to give him premium.
What's his averages this season?
I think it was it 11 points, 10 points, 11 points. Oh, I got to check. But I checked like a while ago. I know he had like a leg injury or something like that, so that kind of kept him sidelined. But he was a first-round pick. But I think right now it's just Denver they just have a logjam.
Yeah.
And those are things, see, that's the thing too. Like we're in a position where we have cap space, especially if we let some of these guys go, where we could just poach other teams' players that they can't play. And they are more like Bertans, I think I just mentioned in the chat, who's shooting well. We could try to poach those guys. But you got to be
Bogdanovich. Oh, by the way, Malik Beasley, sorry to cut you off. Malik Beasley is averaging 7.4 points, 1.7 rebounds, 0.9 assists, 34 games, 39.9% from field goal, 38% from 3, 90% from the free throw. So he's a shooter. I mean, he's a budding shooter.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all.
But he held Denver down in the playoffs last year. Like it's just trying to find the right guys, and then sometimes it's just getting guys who've been developed by other teams because we're not developing in-house properly. Like the thing with Tim Hardaway Jr. Like, I'm not saying he was a great player or anything like that, and I could actually make the argument that he developed more in Atlanta than ever here in New York.
Like, well, he's playing, and he's playing well in Dallas too.
And he's playing well in Dallas.
Yeah, let's listen to. I want to listen to just real quick for about a minute. What Ian Begley has for some of the just some latest news at the trade deadline. Of course, he's going to talk about Malik Monk. For me, Malik Monk is a huge no. I see no purpose and no reason behind Malik Monk. Again, we're chasing after somebody that hasn't been successful in its previous stop, and you're expecting them to now come and be successful with you, and with, like Guillermo was saying, with no kind of system or anything like that to really support these guys. So, but let's listen in.
Exactly 2 weeks from the NBA trade deadline, what are you hearing as far as any new names the Knicks could target in?
Got a couple names here. One is Malik Monk with Charlotte, the young shooting guard, and I'm told that people with the Knicks do see Monk as a potential trade target, and he kind of fits the profile that this Knicks team, the front office, has gone after in recent seasons. The player that was drafted highly that hasn't really worked out in his first stop. They see Monk, or players like Monk, as kind of a reclamation project of sorts, and I'm sure there's going to be conversations had as we get closer to the deadline. The other name to throw out there is Andre Drummond. The Knicks and the Pistons had been in touch about a potential Drummond trade, but I think the holdup there is people in touch with the Knicks don't see them as willing to part with any of their top young players or any future first-round picks, and that's what Detroit is looking for in return for Drummond. So I think that's going to be a big hang-up there for any Knicks fan that's looking for this team to land Andre Drummond.
So you hear right there, the Knicks not looking to give up any young players or give up any first-round draft picks which means, if you're expecting any big trades, don't expect it because the Knicks aren't going to be giving up anything like that. So there it is, right now from Ian Begley. That's Ian Begley from SNY TV. If you don't follow Ian Begley on Twitter, make sure you go follow Ian Begley on Twitter and all that kind of stuff. All right, because he's a good source for Knicks news. Let me get to a couple of phone calls, and I'm gonna come back to the chat. Then I'm gonna get up out of here. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
What's good, son?
I'm chilling, man. How you feeling?
I'm all right, man. Disappointed, man. I'm about to walk off the ledge.
Nah, man, don't do it, man. The Knicks not worth it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Back up off the ledge, bro. I mean,
hold on.
I don't know. I don't know I don't know what's going on with the Knicks and what these guys trying to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, man. Where you at? Where you at with this whole Malik Monk thing?
Where Malik Monk?
Yeah. I mean, what's the purpose of it?
There's no Sim. I'm frustrated. Look, you just read the report not too long ago about how they expected playoffs, and then they told the fan base another thing, and then I know you seen the thing with Steve Stout, right?
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that too. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that at all. Really.
Yo, they're taking the fan base as idiots.
Yo,
this is disrespectful at this point. I almost have one foot out the door. They think we're dumb. Like in today's world, like the fans are more in tune than ever. We realize what's going on, and they're trying to take us for idiots. I can't remember exactly what the quote was, but it was something towards the line as they're gonna come regardless. We just gotta I don't know, man. You gotta pull it up.
I really don't like just speaking of that thing right there with Steve Stout taking over, not taking over, but trying to help rebrand the Knicks. It's some things there that I really don't like. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna get to it right now. I'm looking for it right now. I got the article
because there was a quote that you said that.
But there was a quote in there that I was really upset about. He said, here it is. Okay, he said, winning. This is Steve Stout. Now, this is what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't read, the Knicks are going to partner or work with, or they've hired company Translation, which is owned by hip hop producer, whatever he is, executive producer, hip hop dude, Steve Stout, right? And this is what he said. He said, winning cures a lot of problems. Great marketing and exciting entertainment cures all problems. He said the brand has to be strong regardless of the final score. When people are hopeful that things are going to be better and it brings excitement, all of a sudden that becomes a brand. That becomes the brand. See, I don't like that, right? When he says winning cures a lot of problems, but great marketing and exciting entertainment cures all problems. I'm not feeling that at all. You know what I'm saying? Bottom line, the winning needs to be what cures the problems, not marketing and entertainment.
Exactly. What they're trying to say is basically, as long as we feed you the BS and you buy into it, we're good, we're solid, we're still going to make money. And It's not about, we're not necessarily worrying about wins right now. We're worrying about making profit off of what we have, because our brand is so big and so popular that we're focusing on that first instead of the winning. And if that's the case, then you're going to be looking real bad, because everybody's going to start looking at Brooklyn. And to be honest, I've been catching myself looking at Brooklyn games because they've been kind of more entertaining and more. I'd rather see a game where I know there's going to be competition rather than this team losing. They're focused. They're not focusing on the youth. Everybody wants to make. Look, everybody's making these trade predictions. None of our guys have value. The front office promised Dennis Smith Jr. that they were going to trade him, They were going to trade him and find a team for him. Look how long it's been, and they haven't been able to do that. You know why? Because they haven't been able to find a team that's going to give them what they want in return, because our guys have no value. None of our players have value. Think about it. The only player that has value is Morris. You can't move Trier because Trier's on the bench and he has no rhythm right now. So Trier is looking like he might walk out the door because I don't see him wanting to resign with the Knicks. So anybody that the Knicks thought that they could move for is not going to move. They're not going to be able to move him. I'm telling you, it looks like they can't move anybody. The only way they can move any player is if they take back a bad contract. If not, they're going to have to resign them or they're going to end up walking. That's the only. I don't know. That's how I see it. What you think about that?
I mean, if they expect to bring back a first round draft pick, then they'll have to take back other contracts, I think. You know what I'm saying?
Of course, but that's what that's what they've been saying. They've been saying that they don't want to take back. Look at their expectations. They don't want no bad. They don't want to take back no bad contracts. They want high draft picks and they want young, promising talent. How are you going to get that with the roster that we have?
No, I feel what I'm saying is, like people talking about trading Marcus Morris.
To a contending team right now besides Morris.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. People talking about trading Morris and stuff like that.
Type of value if you trade with a contending team, because the other teams that are bottom dwellers or in the middle of the pack, the only way they make those trades is if we take back a bad contract, and the Knicks said that they don't want to do that.
Well, even some of your championship level teams is going to be the same way. Even some of your championship level teams is going to be the same way, where they're like, well, yeah, we would like Marcus Morris, but if you want a first round draft pick, you got to take back some salary. Maybe the Clippers. We did look at it, that one day. Maybe the Clippers would be willing to do a move. I don't know. Well, I don't know, man. But hey, I appreciate your call, man, because I'm about to get up out of here.
Might get back like a young talent or a draft pick, maybe. But I'm talking about everybody else besides Morris. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about anybody else besides Morris. Maybe Portis, because I heard his name is floating around. But besides those two, you're really not getting back anything. You're really not getting back anything worth value.
Yeah,
this front office is trash.
But hey, my man, I appreciate the call. I'm gonna get up out of here. I'm gonna try to take another call or two, and then I'm gonna rock. So I'm gonna go over this little Raptors game preview before I get up out of here. For those who just joining us and didn't get a chance to go through it, I'm gonna go through it real quick. Let me get to this call. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey man, thanks for taking my call, man.
No doubt. What's going on with you?
Just two things. I know you're getting off, but real quick. This Malik Monk thing. We need another 6'3" shooting guard. We need another guy from Kentucky who hasn't developed since he got to the league. I don't understand. The kid can't guard nobody. He doesn't have any length. He's supposed to be a scorer. He can't score. And, we talk about developing players, but my goodness gracious. I don't know what you have to give up for Monk, but I got to be honest with you. I don't know what, with another undersized shooting guard. That's crazy to me. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't even know why they would let that leak out. They should be embarrassed by that.
Yeah, I don't know why. What to think. What this is. And
another
maybe
another Calipari hype job. I'm just tired of these kids from Kentucky. These one and dones. And I know he was all SEC his freshman year, but he wasn't ready to come out. Another kid who just wasn't ready, and now we're gonna take him on. Like I said, one of the people in the chat said it best. Like, what are we gonna take? Everybody who didn't work out in the 17 draft? This is crazy. I can't believe they even let this get leaked out. They should be embarrassed.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. And maybe listen, sometimes the Knicks strike me as, and I know I don't want people to jump on my back for this, but I'm gonna say it, right? When you look at Kenny Wooten from the Westchester Knicks, super talented, got all the jump bunnies in the world and can do all of that. I watched the Westchester Knicks play. there's players on that team that are more effective than Kenny Wooten, right? I wonder, people know about Kenny Wooten because of the highlights that were on ESPN and all that kind of stuff. But when you go watch him play, he has his moments where he's very energetic and he can get up and down the floor and he can scrap and scrape and do those kind of things. And obviously he can block shots, right? But there's other players on that team that are definitely more effective than Kenny Wooten. I'm just gonna be honest with you, right? There are. If you go watch a Westchester Knicks game, you'll see that there are players that are more effective than Kenny Wooten, right? But it makes me wonder: do the Knicks do things because I feel like the Kenny Wooten signing, honestly, was because he was on ESPN, and his name was out there and popular, so the Knicks let's sign him so that we can get the fan base excited, right? So that we can give the fans something to look forward to. We're not having a good season. This would be somebody that the fans will look forward to coming and seeing play. Really, and I wonder that.
You might not be wrong. Listen, you referenced the Steve Stout thing. That's not, so maybe that's how they're thinking. I don't know. I mean, what's Steve Stout going to do? We're going to have what? The Hell's Kitchen Knicks on our jerseys? Like whatever they got in Brooklyn with the Bed-Stuy thing or whatever? I don't know. I mean, we're a traditional franchise. We are an original NBA franchise. Right. We don't need to be having crazy jerseys and crazy colors. We're the Knicks. It's like the Yankees. I mean, we don't have that type of pedigree, but as far as history is concerned, we have history. We don't need to be doing. I'm just. I don't know what's going on, man. Listen. The Knicks are under a microscope in a way other teams are. Right. I saw your last caller talking about the Nets. Let's be honest about the Nets for a second. I'm not here to hate on the Nets, but they lost D'Lo. They let him go. They brought in obviously Durant, and they brought in Irving. But let's be honest, they're not having as good a season as they had last year. Mm-hmm. And you want to say why? I don't know. I mean, they lost D'Lo and they have Kyrie. How come they're not doing as well? Was it really maybe it was a flash in the pan the second half of last year? I don't know. But can you imagine if that was the Knicks? ESPN would be going crazy, and the fans be going crazy. And, I listen, I don't know what the answer is, Sam. I really don't. I'm going to be there Sunday night. I don't know what the answer is. But, every time when I look at the team, I say to myself, when I try to be an optimist, I say to myself, okay, we have cap space. We don't have any bad contracts. We have at least, I say 2.5 pieces because I think Mitch and RJ are 2 pieces and Knox is half a piece, So that's why I'm optimistic because I think this is a good job for a potential president to come in here or a GM to come in with. But my negative side of it is I am just concerned that we can't develop talent. And, I'm not trying to hate on Scott Perry, but Mills is a problem. So I don't know what the answer is, but I got to tell you, when I hear Malik Monk, when I hear about Steve Stout in the last 72 hours, it makes me a lot less excited for Sunday. Yeah, but anyway, listen, thank you for taking my call. Have a very nice evening. Okay?
Appreciate
Take
you,
care
bro.
of yourself.
Thank you. And, and it makes me wonder, right? Like my man said, why would you even let that float out there that you're interested in Malik Monk? Knowing, what our roster is like, and we got a bunch of guys that's already his size, and we got a bunch of Malik Monks on the team already. Maybe, the Knicks they put it out. You know what? We'll let this leak out there. Let's see what the fans think. If the fans don't like it, we'll step away. If the fans like it, maybe we'll go ahead and, we'll try to trade something for him, to get the fans excited to see Malik Monk. Because when you're having a season like you're having, the Knicks are 12-33. Right, they want to find ways to make sure that the fans continue to come to the Garden. The way to do it, New York Knicks, the way to do it is by winning. That's the way to do it. I did a survey with the Knicks a while back, maybe 8 months ago or something. I don't know. And part of the survey, the lady asked me, what would make sure that the Knicks fans come to the Garden? What would keep attendance up? I just told her, I said, winning. That's there's things you can do. You can have good fan engagement and all that kind of stuff. Winning is going to be, that's it. You got to win. Or if you don't win, put a decent product on the floor. You know what I'm saying? Put a decent product out there. But I do, get afraid, not afraid, but I do think that the Knicks pay attention to the boards and pay attention to what's happening, what's being said out there. And sometimes they make decisions based on that. Fizdale, I really felt like Fizdale did that a lot. Made decisions based on what was happening, what the fans were saying, and those type of things. It is what it is, man, ladies and gentlemen. Coming down to the end of the show. For those who were not here, I want to give you a quick rundown of, what we talked about earlier as far as this game tomorrow versus the Toronto Raptors. All right, so, let's get back into it real quick, and I'm going to let you go ahead and get on with your night. Tomorrow, the Knicks play the Toronto Raptors at home, 7:30 at Madison Square Garden. All right, it's on your local television station on MSG. You can get it on MSG Go. It's on ESPN New York 98.5. The head coach for the Knicks is Mike Miller. The projected starters for the Knicks are Elfrid Payton, Reggie Bullock, Marcus Morris, Julius Randle, and Taj Gibson. RJ Barrett still out with an ankle injury. For the Toronto Raptors, the head coach is Nick Nurse. Their projected starters are Fred VanVleet, Kyle Lowry, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, Marc Gasol. Injury report for the Toronto Raptors. Patrick McCaw is out with a nose. O'Shea Brissett, he has a knee. He's a game-time decision. And DeJuan Hernandez has an ankle. He's out with an ankle. All right, let's take a look at the team comparison. The Knicks are 12-33 on the season. They're on a one-game losing streak. All right, they average 104 points per game. Their opponents are averaging 112 points per game. The Knicks average 43.3% from the field, or they shoot 43.3% from the field. They shoot 33.8% from three. All right, they're grabbing 46.1 rebounds per game, 21.1 assists, and 14 turnovers per game. Their offensive rating is 104.3. That's 28th in the league. And their defensive rating is 112.2. That's 24th in the league. The Toronto Raptors, they're 30-14 on the season. All right, they're on a 5-game win streak, ladies and gentlemen. All right, they're on a 5-game win streak. Their points per game, they average 111.9 points per game. They're shooting 105.9%. I'm sorry, their opponents are averaging 105.9 points per game. So they win by an average of 6 points per game. They're shooting 45.3% from the field. They're shooting 37.4% from three. They average 46 rebounds per game. They average 25.5 assists per game. And they average 14.8 turnovers per game. Their offensive rating is 110.1. That's 13th in the league. And their defensive rating is 104.1. That's second in the league, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's take a look at what these teams have been doing the last 5 games. Because the Knicks' defense has actually been pretty good the last 5 games. Although their record is 1-4, their defense has been pretty good. Over the last 5 games, the Knicks are averaging 97 points per game. All right, their opponents are averaging 105. And we'll talk about that in a minute. 105 points per game. That's pretty good. That's pretty good defense. The Knicks are shooting 40.8% from the field, 31% from three. They're averaging 46.6 rebounds per game. They're averaging 21.6 assists per game and 14 turnovers per game. Their offensive rating is 97.8. It's 30th in the league. 97.8. This is in the last 5 games. Their defensive rating is 106.1. That's actually 7th in the league. So let's talk about the Knicks' defense over the last 5 games, ladies and gentlemen. Over the last 5 games, the Knicks' defensive rating is 106.7. That's 7th in the league. Their opponents are scoring 105 points per game. That's 3rd in the league. Opponents' field goal percentage is 44.2. That's also 3rd in the league. Our opponent's assists is 23.4 assists per game. That's 10th in the league. Let's talk about that one more time. check out the Knicks defense over the last 5 games. The defensive rating is 106.7. That's 7th in the league. Opponents are scoring 105 points per game. That's the 3rd lowest in the league. Opponents' field goal percentage is 44.2. That's 3rd lowest in the league. And opponent's assists per game is 23.4. Guess what? That's 10th lowest in the league. So the Knicks are playing some good defense recently, ladies and gentlemen. Good defense recently. We'll see if they can continue. As for the Raptors, they're 5-0 in the last 5 games. They're averaging 124.2 points per game. They're giving up 111.2 points per game. They're shooting 51.5% from the field and 42.2% from 3. They're grabbing 43.4 rebounds per game. That's a little bit down, but it might be because they're shooting well, so there's less offensive rebounds to go around. They're averaging 29 assists and 15.6 turnovers per game. Their offensive rating over the last 5 games is 118.3. That's 3rd in the league. And their defensive rating is 105.5. That's 4th in the league, ladies and gentlemen. Playing a very good team, especially over the last 5 games. Key matchup, Pascal Siakam and Julius Randle. Pascal Siakam, 6'9", 230, 23.5 points per game, 7.7 rebounds per game, 3.5 assists and 1 steal. The All-Stars averaging 45.4% from the field, and he's shooting 36.7% from 3. Julius Randle, he's 6'8", 250. He wanted to be an All-Star this year. It's not happening. He's averaging 18.8 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game, 3.3 assists, and just under 1 steal per game. He shoots 44.8% from the field and 28.9% from 3. But here's the area, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm really concerned. This matchup here, the backcourt matchup. I'm concerned about this. I'm really concerned about the backcourt matchup, ladies and gentlemen. The Raptors, they have a combined scoring. Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry, 38.5 points per game, 8.4 rebounds per game, 14.3 assists per game, and 3.2 steals per game. All right, together, combined, they're shooting 40.7% from the field and 37.5% from 3. Right, this is a tough backcourt. It's a tough backcourt. They're small, 6 foot and 6'1", but they're small. The Knicks, we got some defensive guys back there that can play some decent defense, but we can't score for nothing. Alfred Payton and Reggie Bullock combined are averaging 18.5 points per game, 6 rebounds, 7.3 assists, 3.9 steals per game. They're shooting 41.4% from the field and 26.9% from 3. We got to deal with those 2 guys over there. Now, the game might be a little bit different. The last time we played them, we didn't have those 2 guys playing defense on the other 2 guys. We didn't have Reggie Bullock and Alfred Payton playing defense on Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry. So let's see how that works out. We're going to need our backcourt to play some defense. Keys to the game, ladies and gentlemen. 1, let's play some disciplined defense. This is a team that has balanced scoring. A lot of balanced scoring. They move the basketball. They cut. They pass well. They average 29 assists per game. In the last 5 games, their offense is on fire. We've got to play some disciplined defense. We got to defend the 3-ball. The last time we played them, they shot 51% against us. We're not going to win. We won't be close if we allow them to shoot 51% tomorrow night. We got to defend Kyle and Fred. We just talked about it. Right? Those 2 guys, I fear that their backcourt is going to really dominate our backcourt, and it's going to be a problem. They may not be big, but they're smart. They're crafty. We do have some size against them in the backcourt, so we got to use our bigger size against Kyle and Fred. Now, Reggie Bullock, Alfred Payton, neither one of them going to be posting up, but you don't have to just post up to use your size. You can use your size going to the basket as well. Spacing, ladies and gentlemen. Spacing. We've been getting in trouble with our spacing lately. The last two games down the stretch, we really got in trouble with our spacing. Not spacing well. Julius Randle dribbled the ball out of bounds because he didn't get out of the way so that Mitchell Robinson can set a screen for Marcus Morris. Then Julius Randle gets the inbound from Alfred Payton against the Lakers. Alfred Payton and Mitch Robinson kind of standing down there under the basket. No space for Julius Randle to go. And then Julius Randle, seeing that there's no space, doesn't kick the ball back out. He goes anyway into the crowd. Spacing. We need good spacing. Disciplined ball movement and man movement, ladies and gentlemen. We need that any game, every game. But I'm going to tell you right now, if we get stuck against these guys playing this one-on-one basketball, we're going to be in trouble. I can guarantee you that. All right? That's not what we want. We don't want to be playing one-on-one basketball against these guys. Because they're a good defensive team, one of the top defensive teams in the league. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for me. That's it for me. I do apologize that if the video got off a little bit and the sound got off a little bit. I think my computer is cold or something like that. I probably needed to restart it before I got on. So if the sound is a little bit messed up, just if it's not syncing up with the video, I apologize. The next one will be better, I promise you, because I will be on tomorrow night. All right, we'll be on tomorrow night. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to head up out of here because it's midnight. And I got to get up early. I got some things I got to do. I appreciate you guys being on with me, though. Appreciate you guys being on with me. I will see you tomorrow after the game. Hopefully we got some interesting stuff to talk about, man. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace, ladies and gentlemen.